This meeting is being recorded.
I'm glad that it tells you too. Like it prompts you just in case you
Yeah.
were naked. It lets you know, like, hey,
That's the first.
Jonathan, put your shirt back on because this is
That's the
being
first time I
recorded.
ever heard that too. That's weird.
Do you do a lot of Zoom calls?
Yeah, but I don't think I've ever had like anyone record one. So
Okay, maybe that's what it is. Yeah, I think this is the second Zoom podcast that I've done, and it did it the first time too. But I do find that to be a strange factor for sure
yeah,
that it shares that with you. What's up, dude? Thanks for coming. Thanks for being on the show.
man, I'm glad I could make it all the way to my own office to be
Yeah,
here for this
yeah.
podcast.
Technology definitely makes it a lot easier for people like you and I to connect, and I think that's amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, dude. So I see those plaques behind you, man. Those are fantastic, and I do want to talk about that. And I know that you're in the music business now, but you started off as a comedian, and that's how I got wind of you. Was that you did comedy, and one of our mutual friends connected us. So I just want to know, like your story, man. Like, how did you get started in comedy, and who were some of your influences as a kid? I guess are the first things I'd like to dive into.
Yeah, so as a kid, I grew up in Chicago. That's where I'm from originally, and I live in Nashville now. But when I was younger, I remember watching, going to like my aunt and uncle's house, and you can get away with more over there. But I remember watching like Andrew Dice Clay and Robin Williams and stuff like that, and being like intrigued, like, oh man, that's something cool. I want to learn more about that. And I remember telling my mom and my dad that I wanted to like watch Andrew Dice Clay, and my mom was like, no, you can't watch that guy. He's vulgar. He's a male chauvinist and all this kind of stuff. So what I would do is just wait until I fell asleep and then sneak downstairs and watch TV and watch his stand up when I was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old.
That's
And
awesome,
then
dude.
I remember, living in Chicago. Of course, they call it the Second City, and it's big like improv and stand up comedy and stuff there. And we had like assemblies, and the Second City touring group would come and put on a show for us. So I remember that and thinking that was cool. That made a big impression on me.
So they
And
came to your
then when I
school. The
turned
second,
10,
the second city group, like
yeah,
the comedy group, came to your school, and that's fucking amazing, dude. That's a big
yeah,
opportunity for kids in that city that most people in the country just don't even have a clue exists. You know what I mean? Like that's awesome.
yeah. And it's really like when I was like kid growing up, I never thought like doing stand up or performing at that point. Like obviously, like I wouldn't even know how to get into it, and I didn't for a long time. But if I knew, I probably would have tried to gear myself towards that a little bit more. But when I remember when I was 10 years old, my same aunt and uncle who I used to watch the dirty stand up shows at their house, they asked me what I wanted to do for my birthday one year when I turned 10, and I said I wanted to go to Zany's in Chicago for my birthday, and they're like, all right, let's make it happen. So they called, said my nephew celebrated his birthday. We want to bring him out there with some of the family. Do you guys do like party packages, whatever? And they're like, yeah. And then at the end of the call, I was sitting right there, and they're like, it's his 10th birthday. They're like, oh, he's got to be at least 18 to get in here. So I was like, oh man, I got to wait 8 more years. So that kind of crushed it. But that I was into my 20s before I actually got started. So then a big gap of time goes by, and I'm writing down jokes, and my friends tell me I'm funny. I'm cutting up with them, just conversationally funny. Couldn't figure out how to get started on stage though. And coworkers always tell me, hey, there's this guy that works in the business office. You should go with him. He does stand up. I was living in Huntsville, Alabama at the time, and he would travel to like Nashville and Chattanooga and Birmingham and do open mics. And even then, I didn't know what open mic was, but I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm not interested in doing that. And then flash forward a few more years, and some friends of mine, we ended up going to Nashville from Huntsville for just a fun night out. Went to an open mic. They started heckling. I made sure I sat at a different table than them because I was like, I'm not about to get like taken down by these comics. But that's the first time I like saw like live stand up comedy on a level where it was like not on TV.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I could probably do this.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So you
that's
got
when
the
I
bug.
started thinking about it.
So basically, you were like, man, these guys are just as good as me. They're just regular people, and they're just telling jokes. They're just trying, right? That's what I find too. Like, especially in my region, It's like there's one or two people in every city who are really well versed and they've been doing it for a long time, but most people aren't that good. So if you actually go up and you make people laugh at open mics, you got a shot, and people tell you that too. It's a weird like unwritten rule. People are like, "Hey man, you're good. Come back." And I don't know. I think that I think that's dope, man. That's definitely probably majority of comics, like not majority, but I would say a good portion, because that's how I got the bug too. Was a friend of mine who I worked with. We just were cool for a while, and I didn't even know he did comedy. And then one day he told me to come to a show, and I went and I fucking saw him, and he crushed. And I was like, that's so wild that this dude that I'm just hanging out with every day, he's just a regular person. He's like going and doing all these shows and shit and living a double life at night. And it's like this, it's like
Yeah.
intriguing, dude. It's like Batman or something, dude. You're like saving the day with fucking jokes. I don't know. I know that sounds grandiose, but it's like I got this big idea of what it all is in my head, fucking lights and cameras and all that. But that's how I felt. I was like the same way as you. It was just like a friend of a friend. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like, unless you start digging and looking for a way to do it, you just don't know how to start. Like, because you probably everyone's opinion is like they watch the people on Netflix or YouTube, wherever else you see like this comedy specials, and you're like, how do I get one? And what's starting out, that's what's even funny is, I'm probably guilty of it too, but most new comics are like, oh yeah, man, I can do 30 minutes. I can do a special right now. You know what I mean?
Fuck
Like,
yeah.
you make your friends laugh and you think it's easy. Then you get up there and you see comics that are up there for like 3 minutes. Are like, so what else? What else we want to talk about? They're out of time in 3 minutes, just burned right through it.
Yeah, dude. I had a stinker recently, dude, and I've been doing it for 5 years. Like, dude, sometimes you just fucking. I went up for like an audition for a club owner at another club, and it was an open mic, and I was just like, I thought I was trying new stuff that had worked at other open mics, and I didn't really do material, and I kind of got cocky a little bit, and I just fucking was winging it, dude, and I did poorly, and I noticed it. But this is the bad thing. This is what bothered me the most is other comics came to me after, and they were like, good set, like three different comics. In my head, I'm like, no, you like me as a person. Like, you
Yeah.
don't say that. Like, you shouldn't tell me it was good if it's not good. You shouldn't do that. That fucking like stunts my growth.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's a couple things with that is, one, yeah, they probably are like, they like you as a person, but also like some comics would just say that to everybody. Like I've
Yeah,
seen like
it's
whenever I do a
conversation.
show and I see like them go up and I watch someone just like kind of suck and they go up and say, good set, man. And they're not like being honest. I'm like, okay, well, everything else this person's ever said to me like is bullshit.
Yeah, I think
So
a way to do that like safely, without like shattering their ego, but also without like you know giving them some false sense of hope, is just like, hey, it's good to see you out. Glad you're here. Glad encourage being encouraging in
yeah,
that way.
those kind of things. Cause like, yeah, really part of this whole thing is going up there and failing. Failing is part of the success story too in the end.
Yes.
So if you're going up there and you stunk it up and someone's like, hey man, thanks, I'm good, glad to see you out here, keep coming out, that encourages them to come out and try harder rather than, hey, good set. And you're like, I know I sucked up there tonight. Like, that's not true. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
false sense of hope that you just said is it's detrimental, to growth, like you said. And also, I notice that a lot in comedy scenes. If especially if it's like a comedian who books a lot of shows, I mean, they have bad sets too. But
Yeah.
I see after the shows, everyone's just kind of like kissing their ass in hopes that if I kiss his ass, he might give me a spot on his show. And I don't like that kind of stuff, man. I'd rather you just be truthful and give me a spot because I'm funny, or even if you just give me a spot because you like me, that's cool. But
Oh my
I'm
god,
not gonna
dude.
kiss your ass for
You're so right, and no one ever talks about that in this business. Someone trying to call my phone?
it. First, the next steps was just looking in my own town because, like I said, that was in Nashville. I hadn't moved to Nashville yet, so I was still living in Huntsville, Alabama at the time. So I was looking around to see, what kind of comedy things were going around, and really, other than headliners that were coming to like the event space, like the arena there and stuff like that, like bigger acts, there wasn't a lot going on locally. And I just happened to find like a Facebook page that said Huntsville needs comedy. So I like looked and I saw that they were going to this specific open mic, which wasn't even like a comedy dedicated open mic. It was just open mic for musicians or poets and whoever else. And there was like 5 other comics there. And so I went and I watched the first week that I found them and kind of talked to them a little bit, told them I was interested in doing it. The next week they're like, "Nah, get up there." So what they would do is they would each give us 5 minutes. And there were 6 of us, so it was a 30-minute block of comedy. And we would thank the host because she was a musician, and we'd like buy her tequila shots or whatever for putting us up, because it was kind of like one of those things that she didn't really have to because it was a music open mic. And we would go up and do our little 5-minute set. And I remember when I went up, I was just like, man, if I can just make one person laugh tonight, that was my goal. And I locked in on this one table, and it was like an older couple and their son. I guess it was his son's 21st birthday. And I noticed them laughing. So I just locked in on them the whole time. I was just pretty much just telling them my jokes, and went through my 5 minutes, got off stage. The other comics came up and like rushed up to me, and like we just started chatting, and they were like throwing ideas out there for me. It was like pretty epic moment to like get that confirmation, like, hey, I am pretty funny. Let's see where I go from here.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, the next night I called out sick for work, and we came up, the same 6 people came up to Nashville to do an open mic, and that open mic was packed, and it was a comedy open mic, so it was just all comedians, and they were filming a reality TV show here that night, which we had no clue any of this was going on. So my second time ever doing an open mic, I ended up on a reality TV show doing comedy. So it was kind of funny.
Shit, dude. You just
Yeah.
happened to the right place, right time. You called off of work and then happened to get on a TV show for comedy. The second time.
Yeah.
How wild is that,
It was
dude?
pretty funny.
You got to think about that all the time, right? Like that's probably one of the factors in your head all the time where you're like, I'm meant for this, right? Did it give you that belief?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, man, I wanted to get into entertainment at that point. I kind of decided it, and for sure, I had done other stuff before that, but then when I saw like, hey, I made people laugh, went to a new city, made more people laugh, and they were doing a TV show, and now I got to watch the TV show to see if I made it on there and that kind of thing. So it was exciting, and then I just kind of like rolled from there, and I started chasing the TV stuff, like trying to get in commercials and be an extra on TV. So I got some of those things going, and just kept going from there. I got on a few TV shows as an extra, traveled for that kind of stuff, and it was just some cool opportunities that were coming those first couple of years doing comedy.
That's dope, dude. That is dope. It sounds like you had a really great journey from the start, honestly.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool the whole time. I mean, even now, I mean, like I don't really get up as often the past little bit here, just because I'm focused more on the music side. But I still get up every now and then at Zanies. Whenever I send in my availability to the booker, they'll usually give me a spot. It's usually just on a showcase or something. But that's really right now all I need to kind of like work out all the kinks in my material and all that kind of stuff. Just keep it fresh at the top of my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like we were talking about before we were recording. It's like comedy's like crack cocaine. It's like you can quit for a while, but eventually you're probably gonna do it. You're probably gonna do it again. You're gonna find yourself in a dark, fucking underlit room, like fucking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
There's
bad,
no
seedy part of town, and you're gonna do comedy. You're gonna smoke comedy, bro.
Yeah, there's no 12-step program for comedy yet, so
No,
we're
there
all
fucking
addicts
should
on
be.
that.
There should be. I'll tell you what, dude. Well, this is the thing, is because you can fall back on it. And in the industry, like if you're an actor and you like fucking lose your deal or whatever, or if you're a musician, look, T.I.'s doing comedy now. What do you think about that, by the way? What do you think about T.I. doing comedy as a comic, as a person who was like a booker at a club and professional in the business? How do you feel about him just coming right in and headlining shows?
As a booker, I think it's great because that's money. You know what I mean? So
Boom. That's a
if you're
great
looking
way to
from
look at it. Did not think you were going to
if you're
say
looking at
that.
it from if you're looking at it from that standpoint, it's like, hey, I can put someone up on a Tuesday night and they're going to sell out my club just by their name, even if they're not good.
Dude, that's
Cool.
great. I did not even think of that. You're absolutely right. As a fucking club owner, they're gonna love that shit.
Yeah,
Damn.
and that's how you see a lot of acts that like I've seen a lot of them come through the club when I was running the club, which we haven't got to yet, but I ran a comedy club for a little while, and we would bring in acts that like they pretty much they were popular on. They were popping on YouTube for a little while or whatever social media platform, TikTok, whatever. But their stage show might have sucked. But they sell out a Tuesday or Wednesday before we have to worry about the weekend. So that's money in all my servers' pockets. My bartender gets our marketing budget up for the weekend to bring in the real act.
Yeah.
Put more towards radio or digital ads, that kind of thing. So
That's fantastic. So tell me that. Tell me like how you went from sort of doing these shows and these commercials and started getting into the TV business to actually working and then eventually managing a comedy club in Alabama. What was that like? And then what
yeah,
was some
so
of the crazy things that happened while you were there?
yeah, so it's a little bit drawn out, but it's about 7 year process up to leading up to that. I was doing comedy. Started in Huntsville, moved to Chicago for a summer, did some comedy there, met a lot of people. Started kind of making a little bit of reputation for myself. Moved back to Huntsville, uh, did some more comedy, and then decided I needed a change of scenery and moved to Nashville because it was a bigger city. I thought it'd be a little bit bigger opportunities there. They had a comedy club there, and there wasn't a comedy club in Huntsville at the time. So I came here in Nashville and started performing, meeting people, running shows. I ran shows downtown at the Hard Rock Cafe here, and they had like a little upstairs room. And I was, just doing it all myself, booking, marketing, promotion, uh, hosting the shows, everything. And I sold out like 4 shows in a row there. And Zanies, and there's another couple of like comedy outfits here that were running shows the same night up against me. And I sold my show out with just locals, like just a showcase show. And Zanies, who had a national headliner, didn't sell out. And I guess the word got back to them. They kind of knew me because I had done a few things with Zanies at that point. And they just basically were like, hey, we're thinking about opening a club in Huntsville. We see that you kind of know what you're doing with some of this marketing and sales, and that you're a comedian too. So you kind of have that right mindset. Would you be interested in working with us? And, since you're already from there, would you be interested in moving there? And so that ended up happening. We talked about it. I worked from Nashville for about a year and would just drive to Huntsville every weekend, help with shows. And then, you know, that got kind of old, all the driving, and decided, yeah, I'll just move back to Huntsville and help out. So I did that for about 3 years, doing.
How far was the drive for the
It was
first
a
year?
it's 100 miles from Huntsville, Alabama to Nashville, Tennessee.
It's like 2
So I
hours.
was, yeah, it's like an hour and 45 to 2 hours depending on traffic.
And then
So I
you
was
would
just
do that
driving.
every night, or you would stay for the weekend and run the
I
shows or
would
stay in
drive
Nashville?
in on like either Wednesday or Thursday and come back on Sunday night.
So you just stay in Huntsville while you're there.
Yeah, like we had a comedy house, which where the feature and some headliners would stay sometimes,
I got you.
and so it was like a 6 bedroom house. So I would just take one of the rooms and just kind of like that was my room whenever I was there, and just you know hang out for the
Hell yeah.
few days I was in town. But my wife got tired. Well, my wife now, she was my fiance. She got tired of me being gone every weekend, and so she was like, "Well, let's just plan this out and let's just both move there." So
So you guys just both decided to take the trip down to Huntsville and move
yep,
for how long were you there running the
I
club?
was there for 3 years, from basically 2016, which was like the building process, like they were still building it out until it opened, and then from there until 2019 is when I quit finally.
And did you quit to become like a or production? I'm not sure exactly what you do or your exact title, but did you quit to kind of get into the music business, or was there other things going on, or
Yeah, I mean,
you were just tired of
I
comedy?
kind of like, no, I wasn't tired of comedy. There were just some internal things where like I didn't agree with the other management that was in place there at the club, and I
Okay.
voiced my concerns about that, and the owners kind of didn't see it my way. And then I was also kind of tired of being in Huntsville. I'd lived there for a while. I loved a lot of people there, had a lot of friends there, still do. But I moved to Nashville for a reason, and I was like, I kind of want to be in Nashville. It's where I want to be. It feels right.
Yeah.
My wife's that's where I met her. She wanted to be back here closer to her family. My family lives here too. So it's just like a decision where it's like, we did this, we had a good run. I asked for a bigger opportunity because the club owners, they own several clubs. So they were looking at possibly opening another club in another city. And I was like, well, when you open that club, I'd be interested in possibly just running that club for you because it was going to be in Tennessee. And their response to me was that I needed to lose some weight. I was too fat to be a general manager of a comedy club. And I was like, all right, that's fine.
That's fucked
You
up.
that's that. I'm basically here at this club putting in the work of a general manager, not getting the pay or the accolades for it. Um, I'll just leave. I'll go back to Nashville on my own, and you can find someone else to help you run this club and see how it goes. So that's basically where we left it. I moved back here. I got my real estate license. Was just going to do real estate for a while, and then I saw an ad on Facebook where they were asking for help on an artist management team. Didn't name any like names of the artists or anything. I was just like, all the stuff they're asking me, the stuff I'm pretty good at and can handle. The stuff that I was doing basically at the comedy club, a lot of it. And then responded to the ad, sent my resume in, had an interview, and they hired me pretty much on the spot. So.
And then how long ago was this?
This was 2 years ago, or a little over 2 years ago. It was right before all the pandemic stuff happened.
Okay. And then what record company did you end up working with? And you
So the name of the management company is War Dog Management, and the main artist that we manage is artist by the name of Jelly Roll.
Yes,
here in Nashville.
I can see the gold plaque behind you there. Did you film the video for that record?
For the Save Me
Save
record, Me? Yeah. So a little bit funny story about Save Me. We were in the studio. We're working on the new album with Jelly, and he had several songs he knew was going to be on the album. And then throughout the week, he just had this one. And it was very raw, just an acoustic ballad, which was different from like the rap stuff that he was doing. And it didn't really fit the project necessarily. And it was just so different. We were like, well, everyone kind of digs it though. You know what I mean? It was just a good song. He kept pulling anybody who would walk by in the studio that whole week. Listen to this song and tell me what you think. And everyone loved it. So we're like, well, let's just film something. So I wasn't there for the filming. We had a couple of videographers and Matt from our management team who actually filmed it just on 2 cameras, quick little setup. And we had the video, and we were just like, you know what? Let's just put it out there and see what the fans say. Let them be the final judge if it makes it to the album or not. So we just like put it out there, and it just blew up. It just went viral.
It's an amazing record, dude. It really is. It's so cool you got to be a part of it, and you were on the other side. You were on the side of it, not even knowing if people were ever going to hear it or not. It was just something you guys were enjoying at the studio. That's pretty cool. That's an amazing experience alone.
The cool thing is it kind of like launched a whole nother avenue for Jelly Roll and a side of his music career where we didn't even know that his fan base would like. You know what I mean? Like, dude, everyone, he would sing on songs a lot.
In my life, it's one of the best country records. That's what it's not a rap or it's a country record.
Right.
It's blues. It's like wild.
100%. Like, there's no rapping on it, no hip hop track. It's just an acoustic guitar and a little bit of piano they put in behind it. And it was a different vibe. And then from there, we're like, you know what, we could probably do this. And so if you listen to his more recent albums he's put out, there's a little bit more guitar, there's a little bit more singing parts. And, the last album he put out, almost every song is a singing song and has one rap verse on the entire album. So he kind of like put it out there to see what we could do with it. And it's even now, like Dead Man Walking is a straight rock song, and it's on its way, on the rock charts. It's in the top 10 right now, and who knows? We're hoping it makes it to number 1.
Yeah, dude, I hope it does too, dude. That's the thing with music is like, I think he's had such a big fan base for so long that he's like aging with his fan base. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's like, as we get older, we all get different tastes in music and stuff like that, and we like to mellow out. Sweetie, that's my daughter. She made her guest appearance. But yeah, we like to mellow out or listen to something different sometimes. Like, we don't always listen to rap, but I used to do rap myself, and I don't listen to rap every day all the time. I listen to different stuff. So I can totally see that, man, and that really shows his like diversity and range as an artist too. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's just an amazing track, dude, for sure.
Yeah, you think about music, it's not necessarily a genre thing. It's a mood thing, right? So it just depends
Yeah,
on what mood you're in, what you're gonna listen to on a given day or moment, even. So,
yeah,
that's kind of what the vibe we're going for is just what touches people the most. And he's very like into that, very in touch with his fan base. And like you said, a lot of them have grown and matured. Like he used to just do straight hip hop and connected with people that way. And those same people that say you're 18, 19, listen to some old school Jelly Roll hip hop. Well, now you're probably in your 30s and you have a family and you're a little bit more mature as a person, just like Jelly Roll is more
yeah,
mature as an artist.
yeah, dude.
And
Yeah.
so you grew up with him, and now you get to enjoy this ride and see where he's going from here. And I think it's pretty awesome, cool
Yeah.
story for sure.
It also the lyrics and the mood are really true to him, like as a character and his other music too, because like he's not saying anything different than maybe he's saying in a lot of other records. It's just like you said, it's that mood and it's just something about that melody and that vibe, dude. So very dope, man. Very dope. Yeah,
Yeah.
what's so I guess that's your like everyday gig, huh? You just work for the record label now and you just manage artists, obviously Jelly Roll and other artists as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, so I work for the management company and War Dog Management, and it's me and Matt Wallace, and we have this other guy Mac that works with us, and we have Jelly Roll, we have Still Matthews. There's a guy named Mikey Mike, Atlas, who's another hip hop guy. We work with this artist named Ryan Nelson, who's a country act. Um, there's Josh Kaiser, there's Justin Wells. These are all just really up and coming artists. Some of them you may have heard of, some of you may not, but they're all on Spotify. So if anybody wants to check them out, it's all kind of all over the place. Some hip hop, some like rock rap, some country, some bluegrass, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you guys are really hitting that demographic like a full spectrum of the new wave, and I like that. That's dope,
Yeah,
dude. Hell yeah, man. I'm excited. I'm excited
yeah,
to hear what comes out of your guys' camp this year. You guys got all those guys coming out this year, like with new singles and videos and stuff like that?
yeah. And we've been working on it, for maybe the better part of a year and a half now with a lot of them, and they've been rolling out visuals, and that's the other side of kind of like what I do is when I took on this role, and I was supposed to help out a little bit more on like the touring side and like looking at the contracts and all that kind of stuff because I had familiarity with the comedy club and looking at contracts when they came through and what make sure the payouts were proper. I handled all that kind of stuff. So when the pandemic happened, there's no touring. It was like, what do we do? Let's create more content. That's where we need to be right now because everyone's at home wishing they can go out and see a concert. So we bring a concert to them through YouTube, and like in a way of just putting out new visuals and stuff like that. That's kind of what we set forth and did over that whole time span. And in doing that, I worked with our video team and kind of started producing stuff, which was a little bit of a new role for me. And things just took off. I mean, I think over the past 2 years, I produced over 40 music videos that are out, and some of them have millions of views on them. So it's pretty exciting.
Dude, that's so cool to be able to be a part of all that, man. I mean, you're a part of something bigger than yourself, and it seems like you're really enjoying the ride, and that's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it is. And then another part of it that's been cool too is, like you said about Ti doing comedy, like Jelly, when they hired me, we sat down in the office. He's like, "Hey man, someday I like to just sit down with you and maybe come up with a 10-minute set that I could do if I ever like having to pop in like the comedy store or something like that." I was like, "Yeah, dude, absolutely." And as I got
Badass,
to know him,
yeah,
like he tells stories and stuff. I'm like, dude, that right there, that's a bit. Hold on to that. Tell that
yeah,
story. Or like when he's on podcasts, I'm like, if you're on a podcast, that's a perfect story for a podcast. Hang on to that. And
yeah, dude.
using some of the connections have with comedy and even at like Zany's the comedy club, I've helped him kind of like connect to some of the comedians and do some podcasting, or like we did that video with Andrew Schultz and that song with him and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool to kind of see both my worlds blending together in a way through Jelly Roll. So it's been a lot of fun doing that as well.
Hell yeah, that's sick. Hell yeah, man. So what is the process of like when you guys are managing people and like you start developing an artist? Is it like you make a bunch of content and like an album, and then you kind of just like you have it all sitting there, and then you do release dates and stuff like that, or you guys just kind of drop stuff as you go, or because like you said, it's so content driven. Like, is there a hold on things, or how does that all work? And like getting it out to the people, and like how do you guys get that flow going?
Yeah, it all kind of depends on like where we're starting with an artist. If it's an artist that's pretty like has a pretty good following already, or if it's someone who's really starting from like zero almost. Well, the main thing is just making sure that everything matches across the board, like all their social media handles and all that kind of stuff. They are posting or have stuff to post regularly, and then obviously getting in the studio, working on stuff. And if they don't have any like songs that they wrote, you do like cover songs and record those and just kind of show their range and diversity to people who really don't know who they are yet. People will understand a song that maybe out by an artist that's already well developed and well known. So if someone sees that and connects to it and likes that version of it, they may get the follow on social media, and then you own them. That you don't own them, but you own that like to the point that if you push them anything else, they're going to see it.
Yes.
So it's just trying to get those numbers up on social media at first, getting a website, getting a mailing list, all that kind of stuff squared away, and that's something I would say is missing a lot in like the comedy world. And I think comedians, when they get to a certain level, they need to make sure that like all their social media handles match. They got a website, they got some kind of like mailing list thing put up, and that they're just consistently dropping content. And that's kind of like how we start out. As far as like recording,
Would you say the comedians need to be like sending out everything they put out via email, or at least, you know what I mean, once a week or whatever with their email list? Or what would you say every time they drop merch or every time a new skit comes out? Or how does that make sense? The same thing as you would do with an artist? Is that what you mean essentially? Like
I mean,
anytime something new comes out, you let them know in some way via email.
at a certain point, the you don't want to burn out all those contacts either.
Yes.
I think if you just have a consistency thing going, like even if it was like every Wednesday I'm dropping a new, clip of my stand up, or if it's a sketch or, your podcast snippet or whatever, and hey, we're pushing it. Um, you can do that all through social media platform. Yeah, I would say the email blast for something like a bigger project. Yeah, merch would be a good thing. Or if you have a run of tour dates and you built up a pretty good email list, you may say, hey, look, I got these 6 or 8 shows coming up. Please come out, check them out. Here are the ticket links, or, a couple of them are free. There's no excuse for you to miss it. Please come out and see it, whatever. Just share exciting news with the people as you're progressing in your career, and people like that kind of stuff.
Very good information.
Yeah, and as far as the artists go, like they're putting out their material. Some will work on actual like full project, whether it's like 10 songs, whatever, 12 songs they want to put out. Some of them like just putting out singles, just one song every 3 to 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever have you on the release date. We want to make sure whenever they put that, we pick the best ones to do visuals for, whether it's a full-on music video or if it's them sitting in a room playing a guitar, acoustic, singing the version of that song, and we clip it up and put it out, on TikTok or wherever it needs to go.
Yeah.
And so we put together, when we look at a project, we take, it's kind of like a checklist, a game plan type thing, where we, obviously you have the name of the song and the album art, make sure it's all created. Then you have like a process of uploading it to the distributor. There's just a lot of different parts in the music industry. You just want to make sure that everything's kind of checked off so you don't miss anything, and that you're putting your best foot forward at all times. So that's kind of what we do day to day, helping the artists we work with.
It's a lot of metadata and a lot of little things that you gotta do, bro, when you're posting. It really is, and especially when, well, like me, I'm a one-man band, which I don't have the capacity that you guys do, obviously, but it's like, you can see how easy it is to make a mistake, is what I'm getting at. You know what I mean? Like a typo, or forget to put the company's name or whatever, or this or that, and it's like, it could be a nightmare sometimes, for sure. I'm sure there's been things on your end you guys have had to redact and stuff like that because of whatever, and sometimes it's not just the YouTube bio, because you can change those, right? Or like a post on Facebook, you can edit that real quick, but if you actually publish something with the wrong info, that could be a nightmare, I'm sure. So
Right.
you gotta
Yeah.
be
Whenever
careful.
you like, if we're helping artists like put out social media posts, we might write the copy or help them with the copy. We gotta make sure all the punctuation, stuff spelled correctly, and all that kind of stuff with them, and then also make sure it's kind of what they want to say. If it doesn't match what they want to say, then people pick up on it real quick. So
Yeah.
that's more for like the up and coming, because like the up and coming acts that we work with have an established like a voice, so to speak, or like they don't know how to really interact with the fan base that much yet. Whereas someone like Jelly Roll, he's got it. Like he gets on there and talks and says what he wants to say, how he wants to say it, and everybody gets it. You know what I mean? So that's easy.
Yeah. So he
We
actually
don't
is
we don't really have to do anything on him.
that he's always one of those artists that just have his own. He's just steering his own handles and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Jelly's like very hands on. That's one thing that's kind of cool about it, is like any fan he's interacted with, it's a true and genuine thing. Like I've literally seen him with fans, and they have a lot of stories. They just want to know what his music's meant to them, and just seeing them just sit there and cry together. You know what I mean?
That's
For those
awesome.
stories, and he'll give them a hug. And I've seen him like face to face with someone give out his cell phone number, like, "Hey, call me. I want to know how that works out for you." That kind of thing. So
That's wild, man. Yeah, you don't see
yeah,
him like that every day. So I know, he definitely deserves all the success he's getting, especially just being a real and genuine person. Because not every artist is like that, especially when you reach like certain level of fame. Some people can really get, kind of convoluted in the whole everyone's looking at me and taking pictures of me. You know what I mean? So it's awesome.
oh yeah. I mean, I'm sure some of that's difficult even for him. Like he did mention one time, like how if he goes out in public now, he'll notice like someone across the room just like snapping a picture. But he's like, all they ever had to do is come up and say, "Hey, can I get a picture with you?" And he would absolutely do it. You know what I mean? You don't have to stand across the room and get a picture of him or sneak one. He's like, "Come get a picture with me. Come on." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that's what I'm here for.
it's almost like he's getting so big that people are nervous to approach him now in that way, but he's
Yeah. I mean,
still just a
a
regular
lot of
dude.
people
He
are,
doesn't see it yet. He doesn't. Maybe he can't see it himself.
yeah, I think a lot of people, when they do that, they're not trying to be rude or realize that it's kind of rude. They just think that they're being respectful of his time and space by doing
Yeah,
it. Whereas for him, if he's out somewhere, he kind of expects that it's going to happen. Like the people are going to stop him to have a picture made. So he
yeah.
makes time for that, for a reason. So, yeah, he's a unique artist, and it just not only is what he does musically, but as a human being, he's just truly just a unique person.
That's cool, man. That's awesome that you get to work with him for sure. I'm
Yep.
yeah, like I said, man, I'm really excited to hear what comes out of your guys' camp this year because it sounds like you got a lot of great artists and a whole range of different personalities you guys are working with over there. So, I mean, I've obviously heard of Jelly, but I'm going to be new to a lot of those guys, and I can't wait to kind of study
Yeah.
them. And
Yeah.
I love finding new artists and listening to their old catalogs and stuff like that. So that's gonna be really fun for me. I'm sure people listening to this are gonna dig a lot of those guys too. So yeah, man, dude, thanks for sharing your story, like with comedy and just like with the record business and everything like that, because that's a unique transition. You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of people that get into the TV biz that come from stand up or maybe behind the scenes, not necessarily having their own show. A lot of people are like, you know what I mean, cameramen and stuff like that. So for you to like transition into another level, but also have those same media skills and be able to utilize that, I think that's dope as hell, dude. That's you know what I mean. That's inspiration for me because maybe someday if this doesn't work out, then I could have a job in another part of the industry and it goes to show that entertainment is really more interconnected than I think that we really kind of think about when we first take a
Yeah,
look
man.
at it.
I feel blessed. That I, even after everything that happened in the comedy world and kind of like things not working out the way I would have saw fit. Like obviously, if I had opportunity to run a comedy club, I probably would have still been doing that. But to be able to transition, use some of the skills, and I've always kind of like thought of myself as someone who's able to adapt pretty quickly to anything that comes my way. I mean, there's a lot of things I've done over the past 2 years working with, Jelly Roll's team that I didn't know what I was doing because I'd never done it before, but I learned quickly, adapted, and it all works out. It's just kind of having that grind and just be like, okay, I'm not going to give up. I'm just going to keep going until we make it work. and that's basically all I've been doing, and it's been working so far. So thankful for that.
That's so cool. I'm thankful that you shared your story with me, and you've been hugely inspirational to me tonight. Just the drive that you have, dude, and like the focus that you know that you're having on your career and stuff. And I think that's really cool, dude. That you're fucking, that you're able to share your skills with a different, a different industry. And a lot of people. A lot of people see stuff that you produce and that you're behind the scenes of, and they have no idea. So this is fucking great to be
Hundred
able to talk
percent.
to you, dude. It's cool as fuck. For
I
me,
I like it. I like it
yeah.
because it's like, yeah, I've done a lot of cool shit, and yeah, if you go to like my website, you can click on. There's a link that says like music videos I produce, and they're all there in one little playlist. But I'm never like, hey, look at what I did. Look at this. I just put it there so if someone wants to seek it out, they can watch it. But like, yeah, I'm definitely like I've done a lot of dope shit that I'm proud of. But I'm never gonna be that guy to be like, hey, look at me. No, because I'm not the main focus. I am the behind the scenes guy. I'd rather you not know that it was me and all the attention go to the artists who deserve it. That they're the ones really putting in a lot of the work as far as like interacting with the fans and creating the music, which is what speaks to the people more than the stuff that I do behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, can you just before we go, can you tell like new comedians, artists, new or old, just any advice, any little pieces of advice that you might think that people don't get out there enough? Like what's something that you would share with a new upcoming comedians or artist?
Yeah, I would say, go out there and seek out as many opportunities as you can, especially early on. All stage time is good stage time when you're first starting out. You can start to be a little bit more selective as you go along, but at first you just want to get the reps in. You want to, whether you're working on the actual material or if you're working on your stage presence, always be up working on something every time you do an open mic. And don't do it for anybody else. Do it for you. Don't do it for the back of the room. Get the laughs. Of course, you can hang out and have great camaraderie with the other comics, but you want to feel like you achieve something out of every open mic or every show that you do. I would say don't play into the politics because there's a lot of that going around in a lot of comedy scenes. Um, don't worry about the gatekeepers. If you're not getting opportunities, make your own opportunities, and you'll get there. The only way that you fail is if you quit. Just keep going out and doing it.
Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome, man. I can't wait to listen back to this and listen to, you know what I mean? And because that's cool as fuck, dude. You used to run a comedy club. You know exactly what you're talking about. A lot of people need to hear this information. So, no,
Yeah.
yeah, dude, it was a blessing to be able to talk to you tonight and get to know you and your story, dude. And yeah, man, I'm gonna send this to you in a couple weeks. So just I'll stay in touch too, man. I'll shoot you a text here the next couple days, and then yeah, dude. Like I said, I really appreciate your time tonight, Jonathan. It's been really good getting to know you, buddy.
Yeah, man, I'm here for everybody, man. I'm here for you. I'm here for anybody who just wants to bend my ear and talk. Whether it doesn't have to be on a podcast, just hit me up on socials or whatever. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. If I'm not like in the middle of something, I'll stop and talk to you, or I'll talk to you as soon as I can. And I'm here to help. If anybody has any questions, wants to pick my brain about, what the people at comedy clubs kind of look for and stuff like that, I'm here to help out.